have one that's heathendom, it have one adulteress or adulterer, idolatress, like that. So when you leave out of Yashra'al, and if you find yourself outside of Yashra'al in another land, and you are doing those practices, you become as that stranger. And so this is very interesting here because this also goes into a future prophecy. Because you got certain people of the, what we call the Hebrew roots movement, they like to say this has been fulfilled. But first of all, and I like to, beg to differ that no, this has not been fulfilled.
You mean this whole chapter 1?
Right.
Wow, really? The Hebrew roots movement?
Yeah, a lot of them feel like this has been fulfilled.
I haven't heard of that. Wow.
But I'll say it hasn't been fulfilled because not once since Israel, that kingdom was divided, not once have they ever gone back and tried to be a kingdom that it have its full esteem, or they say its full glory. Right. That has not happened. And you can even tell what's going on with Edom to this day. You know, we're living in the time of Edom now. Right. And Edom ruled and reigned. That's why he said Esau is the end of the world, and what? Jacob is the beginning of the world. The beginning of the world thereafter. Right. So, when we look at what's going on now, you will find it strange that even when you study Roman history, anytime when you go back and look at Rome, they always have one word in parentheses beside Rome. Anybody know what that word is? Edom. Why is that?
Edom is Rome.
You ever read in the book of, is it in the book of Joshua, it talks about how Kedem and Rome went to war? And so Kedem ended up joining with Rome. They became one nation, but they knew they couldn't overtake them. And they went and mixed with them. And so now you have a nation that once was one phenotype, now all of a sudden because of the mixture and all, now they become something else. Or the phenotype change. But a lot of times we look at the skin color, that's why I always say it has nothing to do with the skin color. It's always about the blood that's flowing within that individual. And so that's why I remember when I was in working at the college that I graduated from, I was speaking to a couple of the fellows there one day, and I made this comment. I said, y'all find it strange that the national symbol or emblem or bird for all the European powers is eagle? And we were talking to one guy, he was trying to say that I was lying, but he thought that was far-fetched, and he started Googling what I was saying, and he's like, wow. And the other guy looked and said, what? He said, he's telling the truth. He started naming all of those European nations and countries, and their national bird was the eagle. And so when he said they exalt themselves as the eagle, who do y'all think this is talking about? When they so-called landed on the moon, what was the first thing they said? They said the eagle has landed.
So let me ask you a question based on that then. So if we have all of these European nations, the French, really even Koreans and all the rest of them are pretty much having that eagle thing, right? So does that mean that all of these people either have joined themselves or are Esau, and all of them, this fate is going to land upon them? Of course,
right. The fate lands upon them because what? They become confederate with Esau.
Right.
And that's why is it Psalm 83? I often think about Psalm 83 where he said that those that hate thee have what? Lifted thy heads against thy what? Hidden one. That word is very important right there. Lift thy heads against thy hidden one. And what does it say next? It said they said what? Let's cut them off from being a nation. But you know that when you go look at that, let's cut them off, that word doesn't mean to sever or whatever like that, to cut off. You know what it means?
Oh, to destroy.
To hide.
Oh, to hide, really?
Remember, so lift not that those that hate thee lift their hands against us. Let's go there right quick.
Yeah. Let's go there. See,
I know this thing was gonna get real exciting.
It's been exciting all the way through.
What is it, Psalm what?
Psalm 33.
Verse 1.
Yes, sir.
Keep not thy silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O sovereign. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance.
And there was a let us cut them off. It's coming from the Hebrew of the Strong 35:82.
Yep.
Hence was said to what? Destroy, conceal. When you conceal something, you're doing what? You're hiding it. Cut down, off, or to hide.
Yep.
And that's what they've done. When they took your identity of who you were and start calling you by all of these proverbs and bywords and stuff, that's what they were doing. They were hiding you from the world. They were concealing who you were. So if they were able to do that, that's how they keep you from being a nation. Because you don't even know where your roots go. That's why they start giving you all these crazy names and stuff. How do most people able to tell you that they're German or they're Russian? What's the one thing, the first thing they go to find out who they are? Think about it. Say you said what now?
Their history.
Their history, but how do they start looking at their history though? They have to know something before they start looking at their history. What's the first thing they did to the slaves when they took the identity? Say what now? They changed their names. So most people know that they're German by what? They go to their surname, their last name, and trace it back to where? You do the etymology on the name that tell you that it's of German descent or whatever. It's always the last name. Your first name can be anything, but they always search by the last name. So once they take your name or identity, see your identity of who you are, you're hid. Most people, you can't even tell them your nationality. You ever ask yourself why? It's not that you don't know, they don't know. Because your history was hidden, your name and stuff was taken from you. You know you're Yashra'al. But the only thing they see are the names that you bear coming from where? The slave owners or slave masters, those that used to rule over you. And this is what Esau, Edom has done.
You know, it says here in the Strong's H35, H35, H2, that it also says to act or hints intensively to destroy, conceal, cut down, off, or desolate, hide. So it's in the Brown's driver says to hide, conceal, cut off, cut down, or make desolate.
Yep.
Okay. So it also can be destroyed as well.
That's how we become destroyed.
Right.
You know, they didn't do anything to us physically, where they could destroy us. They could kill us, but it was the mental stuff that they did. And that's why, even when you look at slavery, how the first thing that they did, they killed the elders. They knew they had to get rid of the elders.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because the elders are the one who had all the knowledge. So if you kill all the elders off, or those with the wisdom and the knowledge, so the babies and stuff that are being born growing up, guess what knowledge they're going to have? The knowledge that I give them as their oppressor. And that's what they did. But anyway, we're going to close it out right there. And at this time, I'm going to turn it into the hands of our senior Mori Kasadaba, Yashra'al. Let's give him a hand as he comes.
Very good, Mori.
All right, shalom, shalom.
Mori, I'm going to make this real quick. Very quick. You went to the book of Obadiah.
Yes, sir.
Which was very interesting. I mean, very good. Making sure that we understand all of these strangers here that are in the different positions will be very important so that we can know how to function here in these last days, especially when reading the scriptures. We haven't really gotten into it yet, but we can start to get into like prepositional phrases, adverbs, and things of that sort to help us get a better understanding on how to put the scriptures together. But watch how interesting Obadiah 1 and 12 is. And as we read all the way through it, and making sure that we are able to identify everything that's happening in the book of Obadiah, it says, but you, and we have to understand who is this you, and everybody understand that this you is actually talking about Esau. But you, Esau, should not have looked on the day that thy brother, because Esau and Jacob are brothers. And the day that he, identifying the he, we notice to be Israel, he became a stranger. Neither should you, which is Esau, have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day that their destruction, neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. That is very important, because if you go to the book of Psalms 50 and 2, yeah, 50 and 2, just real quick here. 50 and 2. Watch what Dawood says about the situation. It's making mention of, it says, you. So we have to identify who is this you. You sittest and spokest against thy brother. Thy slanderest thy own mother's son. That is very important. So again, if you go to the book of Obadiah, the first chapter, verses 11 and 12, and then you read now Psalms, the 50th chapter, verse 20, David or Dawood is saying, thou sittest and spokest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. Anybody know the reason why Esau slandered his own brother?
He stole his birthright.
You hit the nail right on the head. You hit the nail right on the head. Because when you go down to Psalm, the 83rd chapter, it says, there's a couple of verses here. It says, keep not thy silence, O Elohim, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O sovereign. For lo, thy enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. That word crafty counsel is to be very important. And consulted against thy hidden ones. They said, plural. This day is getting, the day is particular. They have said, come and let us come, cut them off of being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Verse 6 is verse 5, let me read verse 5. For they have consulted together, again the word they is very important, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. And then it says the tabernacles of Edom first, and then it makes mention of the Ishmaelites. Anybody know the reason why it's making mention of Edom and Ishmael?
Because those two, let me let them answer.
Yeah. But I found interesting here, just like Maury's about to say, is that Ishmael and Esau were supposed to have been given the birthrights. And so they're supposed to have been given the birthrights, because Esau was the first one, and Ishmael, he was the first one from Abraham.
And Jacob took it. Wow.
And so these two are even in ending prophecies we'll get into a little bit later on. These are the two main figures that's operating in the world today, Esau and the Ishmaelites.
Yep.
These two, now remember, when Esau found out that Jacob had stolen the birthright, and they was talking about marriages, Who did Esau go and make a confederate with and marry?
That was the Canaanites.
He also married the Ishmaelite woman too.
He went to all the nations,
Yes,
several nations. His
Wow.
sons started getting married too.
exactly. So marriages are now a confederate. So these guys came together and they're here today, and the two main superpowers now that are, we talk about the Palestinians and the Edomites and all these people here that Herod, it's still all the same thing. These two nations here, the Edomites and the Ishmaelites, and they come together with a confederate, and they have all these other nations coming together against the nation of Yashra'al. I just found that really
It
interesting.
started way back then.
Yeah.
Even when, I mean, when you read it, it sounds like it's prophesied for a future date.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the minute he got married, the first thing he did was marry. He started putting together these people,
These Canaanites and these,
to come
these
together as
Israelites.
one unit against Israel.
And that's what I was talking earlier. I don't know if y'all saw the video this week. You can see it on YouTube when they had the G Summit or G20 Summit,
I missed that.
and you had Vladimir Putin and the Saudi Arabian guy. You know, the one that orchestrated that assassination of that journalist.
Right, yeah.
They had him and Putin high-fiving and each other. I said that the first scripture brought to my mind was this. And I said, you know what, Most High, this is what you're trying to show us. I said, these people, these nations, it's just like you said, they are confederate against us.
Right.
All of these different unions and alliances they have, there's no representation of us nowhere to be found or seen at any of them.
Mhm.
But they all have a common goal, and it's to destroy us.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting that I'm reading here that as you were reading it earlier, is that what became plain to me is that this doesn't have anything to really do with us. They are upset and they hate Yashra'al. I mean, they hate Yahuah. Remember we said, thine enemies, these are your enemies. Okay, these are Yahuwah's enemies. They hate him. So they can't love us. So there's nothing, since we're his people, there is nothing that these people will ever do to assist us or to help us. It don't have anything to do with whether we're in a suit or whether we're walking around with our pants sagging or anything. They hate us anyway. It don't base anything that's through the color of our skin, because they treat the Africans pretty good. Okay, the children of the Canaanites. They hate us, or the children of Ham. They hate us because they know who we are. You see? And there's nothing we can do to go in there and make them love us anymore. So we need to stop trying and just start focusing on what we need to do to make sure that we're right with Yahuah.
Yes, the scripture teaches us why trimmeth thou ways to seek love. So it's not going to happen.
Nah.
It's not going to happen. Well, Mr. Carr, I enjoyed today's lesson. I mean, it was very, very good as always. I pray that everybody was able to get something out of it. And in the ending, I just pray that everybody just hold fast again to that which you has, that nobody takes your crown. Because the days are real evil now. We should all be able to see that. We have a lot of these pagan holidays are still coming up, with the Christmas Eve and the Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So let's try to make sure that we stay strong here in these last days here. And I just want to share with all of my sisters here, make sure that you stay under your coverings. That's going to be very, very important, because without it, you're not going to be able to make it. I mean, guaranteed. So make sure that the Ish is following Torah. Make sure that the Isha is following Torah. Make sure that your children are following Torah. And I'll end with this here, and we have Zakein to end with blowing the shofar. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 18. I'm going to read down a little bit. I'm not going to break it down because it's self-explanatory. And just let us make sure we understand exactly what this relationship that we're trying to have with the Most High is all about, and how our relationship with the Father is a reflection on how we're supposed to love and treat one another. It says, "A man that breaketh wedlock saith this in his heart, Who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. This is what a man that breaketh wedlock does. Nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the sovereign are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So what you do after you leave here, the congregation of Yashra'al, the Father is still watching you. So there can't be no part-time Hebrew Israelites here in the congregation of Yashra'al. The way that we treat and interact with one another here is the same way that we must interact and treat each other, when we out, at home, in public. So everybody must be on their best behavior at all times, because the Father's eyes is 10 times brighter than the sun. Beholding all the ways of men. Again, beholding all the ways of men and considering our most secret parts. He knoweth all things that are ever they were created. So also after they were perfected, he looked upon the law. But this man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and where he speaketh, suspected not, he shall be taken. Now, this is the punishment for the man, now also for the woman. Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bring it in an heir by another. And that word heir there is a stranger. So this woman now leaves her husband, goes with another man, brings forth children by a stranger. For first she had disobeyed the law of the Most High. Secondly, she had trespassed against her own husband. Thirdly, she had played the whore in adultery, and brought children by another man. She shall be brought out into the congregation, and inquisition shall be made of her children. Her children shall not take root, and her branches shall bring forth no fruit. She shall leave her memory to be cursed, and her reproach shall not be blotted out. And they that remain shall know that there is nothing better than the fear of the sovereign, and there is nothing sweeter than to take heed to the commandments of the Father. It is a great esteem to follow the sovereign, to be received of him is long life. So, Ishbakar, this is what's going to help us to make it to the next kingdom here. Because this kingdom here now is not for us, and it still remains the rest of the children of Yashra'al. All right?
You see that with Ecclesiastes what?
The 22nd chapter. Yeah, so everybody must fall in line, both the man and the woman, in order for the body to function.
So that was Ecclesiastes.